such a pain to be alone and lonely in the rain. And it.
Don't throw salt on the ground. I can't believe I have to have this conversation with you.
What's the problem?
Do you have to be watched?
Huh?
So you need a babysitter? Like, don't
Maybe.
be throwing salt on the ground.
Why not?
Just don't. Why would you do that?
Because, man, if I want to put salt on the ground, that's in my house. I'll put salt on the goddamn ground.
Why? Are you trying to ward off spirits?
I mean, I'll get a couple of those the little sticks that you flavor around, and you just say "spirits be gone" and shit like that.
The
The smudge sticks.
smudge stick.
I'll get some smudge sticks. Yeah, it's like it's Rosemary or
You're gonna play
Rosemary's
that game
Baby, or they're
again. I
made
heard
out of
they
something like that.
updated it and it's even scarier.
We need to play it again.
Yeah, because they fucking added new spirits and it's like more like they show up more frequently. So, welcome to Intelligence Not Included, a podcast for you and only you. Just you. Not your neighbors, not your parents. For you. And you alone. I'm your host, AJ.
And I'm your host, Jeremy.
And today we're going to talk about certain
We were talking about
subjects that we're gonna-
phasmophobia. I'm kind of cool with that because I want to talk some more about it.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to as well. Like, it'll kind of like, I guess, transition into what we also want to talk about, which is kind of like, PC versus console and stuff like that.
Well, I mean, PC's already won the game because Phasmophobia is on PC. It's not on Xbox. At least I don't think it is. So you can't play Phasmophobia on Xbox. Check 1 for PC. Shut off the competition. It's over.
So what? There are games
Stop
you can play
the
on
votes.
Xbox and all the other consoles that you can't play on PC.
Like what?
Like
What can you play on
Xbox
Xbox that you can't play on
exclusives
PC?
and PS4 exclusives. Like you can't
No, no,
play
we're
God
not-
of War
we're
on
not-
the PC.
We're not talking about to PlayStation.
Oh, how convenient.
We're not talking about PlayStation right now. I'll give
We're
you
talking
PlayStation
about
at the moment.
Microsoft. But of course
Microsoft.
you want to talk about Microsoft because Microsoft has a deal with PC. So of course some of their games are going to be available.
Microsoft doesn't have a deal with PC. Microsoft is PC.
Or like Microsoft has, I'm saying,
Microsoft is PC.
I'm saying that they share their consoles. Like you have, like the ability to play Xbox and Microsoft games on PC as well. So, of course, like in that scenario, like, but for example, do Halo games like you can play Halo on PC?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So then, but there are certain games that Xbox has that you won't be able to play on PC.
Give me an example.
Like
I will find it on PC within the next 30 seconds.
all right. So let's see. Wait, is Warframe on PC?
Yeah, Warframe's on PC. You've played it on PC, haven't you?
No, I mean, I'm sorry. Is it on Xbox?
I don't know. Maybe.
I'm not sure about that, but that one I wasn't sure about. But let me think. Like, is Gears of War on the PC?
Yeah.
Is it
Yeah, I played Gears 5 on my PC.
really?
Yeah.
Okay. What
You can get
about
the Definitive Edition with all of them?
Okay.
Give me another one. Come on, fire them off. What else?
What about I was gonna say Sea of Thieves like an idiot. Like I've actually
Sea of
played
Thieves,
that
of
with
course.
you.
Yeah, you played it
like,
with me while I was on
like
the computer.
crossplay on there while I was playing on my Xbox.
That's why it's a great game.
Yeah, I'm trying to find some. You know what? I was looking for games the other day, but it occurred to me that most of those games that I was looking for were PS4, like Sony exclusives.
So yeah, that's one thing that I don't think that there's a way to get a lot of those on PC unless it's something that is like a that it's like an exclusive to to like a developer. So
Or if
like
you emulate.
Ubisoft, what's that?
Or if you emulate.
Or if you emulate, I don't even know if you'd be able to do something like that because I mean it took forever to get Grand Theft Auto 5 onto PC,
Really?
and that's Rockstar, and
Mm-hmm.
it took a while for the port to come out for them to actually put it out so everybody can play it on there. But no, I'll give you PlayStation. PlayStation is one that a lot of their exclusives are only on their console, as far as I'm aware. Anyway, I've never seen somebody playing God of War 5 or what is it? God of War 4, whatever.
God
just
of
came
War
out.
4. God of War 5 just got announced, and I'm so freaking excited.
Can I tell you something that'll upset you? Never played a God of War game.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Never wanted to play a God of War game. Never had the interest to.
That's because you like are on PC, so you never thought to like. You don't even own a PlayStation.
I do. It's in a box in the closet. I own there's a PlayStation 1 right there. See? PS2 right next
A
to it.
PlayStation 1 and a PlayStation 2.
Boom. And then I have a PS3 in the closet.
Oh.
I used to have PS4, but I
Would
sold
you be
it.
interested in selling that PlayStation 2?
I have 2 of them. You can have one.
Oh, you have two PlayStation 2s?
How about this? I'll trade you. You said that you have that old Xbox, right? That doesn't work?
Yeah.
I'll trade you one PS2 for it.
You want a broken Xbox?
I want to put it in there. So yeah.
Okay, I'll do that. I guess.
There
yeah.
you go. We can do that then.
Okay. Yeah,
I
that's
literally
awesome.
listened back to the podcast from the other day, and as I was listening to it, I was like, he mentioned about that Xbox. I wanted to ask him if he wanted it anymore because I want that broken Xbox. I literally wanted just to put it in the show. It's like the original like black box with the big green circle in the middle that says Xbox through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want that.
Okay, I will bring that the next time I come over. I had no idea you'd be interested in something like
Absolutely. I love.
that. And they work, right? Both your PS2s.
Yeah. I just have to find the cables and make sure I have 2 sets of them, but sure.
Okay.
If anything, you might need to get cables.
Yeah, in which I can do that. You know, I'm sure I can get those online for cheap.
Yeah.
But it's just, you know what? That's actually something that I could talk about too. Because like, did you know like a lot of the classic games for like PS2?
Classic games for PS2.
Uh,
Hit me with them.
For example, I wanted to play Def Jam. I don't know why. I just like all of a sudden I wanted to play Def Jam.
You jumped head over heels into Def Jam. That's all I see you play.
Well, hear me out though. It's because like that's a great fighting game.
Uh-huh.
And you know, back in the day when it first came out, like I played that game a lot, and you know, I got into a conversation with my brothers, and I was talking about how, you know, I like because I love classic games, you know, like, and I love
The modern classics.
or yeah, modern classics, I guess, like, so we got to talking about some of the games that we used to like back on PS2, and I brought up Def Jam. You know, it was the first thing that came to mind, and we actually have a copy, but our PlayStation 2 doesn't work. And we have a PlayStation 3 that's like backwards compatible, but of course it's not really working either. So I didn't think I was ever going to be able to play that again. And then you guys got me a PC, and I downloaded an emulator for the PlayStation 2 on it. And by some miracle, the game works, even though that's a 16-year-old game. And it works perfectly on my computer.
If I'd have known that you wanted to play it so bad, I would have let you use my PlayStation. My PlayStation works perfectly fine, and it's got
I forgot that you even had one, and I didn't know you had two that were working.
My PS3. It's a backwards compatible one, and it works just fine. If you wanted to play it, you could.
Oh yeah,
play
that
one.
too. Like,
welcome.
But yeah, like that's not just that. Like I wanted to play like a bunch of my old games on PlayStation 2 and Xbox. I actually found my Xbox and all the cables for it, and I tried hooking it up. Turn on the power button, and like the logo came up on the screen, and I thought, oh my god, it actually works. I can't believe it. And then as soon as the logo came out, like an error message came up, and then when I tried to plug it in again, now it won't turn on.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, how nice. I'll probably break it open and figure out what's wrong with it, and I'll solder back.
If you can figure out what's wrong with it, more power to you, because, you know, I'm hoping that someone
on it again, or Halo. I'll play Halo 2 or Halo 1 on it again. Oh, with the Duke controller? Oh, it sounds like wonders in my head.
Yeah.
You have a controller for it, right?
Yes, I do. I have two controllers, actually. And I have a DVD attachment, like the attachment you can put to it to play DVDs.
The little thing for the remote. So
yeah.
You can watch DVDs on it. How did that?
I don't think I have the remote.
That's fine. I don't even own discs for movies much anymore. I don't even have anything hooked up to my computer or my
and
TV
plus everything you
disc.
own is like Blu-ray, so like you won't even be able to watch it anyway.
Blu-ray on the original Xbox, it'll be great.
It's like, oh my god.
I still love. Do you remember that whole thing that happened like with Blu-ray when it first came out?
Yeah.
When there was the fight between Sony and Microsoft trying to figure out who was going to be able to be the next like format god.
Oh, that I didn't know.
So in the last like cycle for like media, there was Blu-ray that was coming out, which is Blu-ray DVD, and then there was the more confusing title, which Xbox or Microsoft in general has always been really good at, which is the HD DVD. So Blu-rays always came in a blue case, right? You're aware of that. So the HD DVDs came in a red case. You've probably seen them at some point in time, but
maybe
not very frequently. They died out pretty quick. So there used to be like two separate players. You would have to get an HD DVD player and a Blu-ray player to be able to play one or the other, because one was by Microsoft, one was by Sony. They were trying to fight for the next.
Been an ongoing war for them, like.
And some win and some lose.
And then somewhere in the background, Nintendo is just kind of like coasting by.
Of course, Nintendo. Because the way that I've always seen it, and why I've always stuck to Microsoft, is because when you look at the three consoles, you look at the three main like console platform. No, three main platforms. There we go. So you've got Nintendo, you've got Sony, and you've got Microsoft. Nintendo is for the children. I mean, it's.
I was actually just gonna bring that up.
It's become more so for adults.
Like Nintendo is the Disney of the video game world.
It's the Disney of the video game world. So you look at Nintendo, and you're like, okay, this is gonna be the place that I know that I can purchase the next Nintendo for my kid that's like 6 years old. I know he's not gonna get into like Grand Theft Auto. He's not gonna get into he's not gonna be able to get like Manhunt, which was a big one that everybody freaked out about for a while, or Postal. That's not going to be on Nintendo. You're going to find Animal Crossing. You're going to find Mario. Sonic was Sega.
All the
that switched
juvenile
over.
games that your whole family can get into.
Exactly.
You know?
You know that that's going to be one that you can get for the kids. There will be a plethora of games that they will be able to play that come out that just get recycled constantly, like Mario Party and shit like that. That they will
Yeah,
always be able to play. Zelda, it's fine, but for children.
Yeah, like they always have like the flagship like franchises like that always come back with every new console. There's always a Mario game, a Mario Party game. There's always Zelda, maybe Metroid,
Smash
Smash
usually comes
Brothers.
around.
Yeah, probably.
Now Metroid, I don't know if there's been a Metroid for the Switch yet. Has there?
I don't think so. I know that like and the games are fun, you know. They really
Yeah.
are. Like I mean, Super Smash Brothers is like our family's thing, you know. My brothers, we play that all the time, you know. And that's like something that I think goes kind of unappreciated with Nintendo sometimes, cuz I mean, when you think about it, the games are sometimes you have even more fun with those games than you do with like the games that you find on Xbox or PlayStation.
If you have a party for it, yeah. If you have
Yeah.
like a large like group of people that are playing it, then those party games, like Nintendo is the place for a party console.
Yeah.
Xbox has tried to do it, PlayStation's tried to do it. They've never been able to get the party style the way that Nintendo has, because I think it's because they've got such a simplistic but it's cooperative, but it's also competitive.
Mhm.
Because like Mario Party has always been perfect for a bunch of people to play together.
Yeah.
And like when it came down to it, you know, you knew that you could be able to jump into a game of Mario Party. You don't have to really think about it. You know, if Mario's on the cover, you're like, my 6-year-old can play this, no problem. The worst you're gonna see is he's gonna jump on top of the head of a fucking leaf.
Of a mushroom. and,
Exactly.
like,
It's not a
that's
big
it.
deal. You're gonna punch a Goomba and he's gonna go, oh no, and fall off the screen. But I digress. So saying that like Nintendo was for the children, and then you've got Sony, which was like the teenage platform. That's the one that you get like your teens. You're like your 12-year-old to 14-year-old kids, where they're just starting to play like regular games. That's just why you have like Uncharted, which was usually a T. That was always a T-rated game, I believe. It was never M until
Uncharted?
I think Uncharted 4.
Yeah, that was always teen.
Yeah, so that was teen because their flagships were always, I mean, minus God of War, their flagships were usually geared toward the teenage audience, and then you come to like
Xbox.
I'm trying to think of like other big things for like Sony, but Infamous was another one. It was T-rated and it was always a big one. I
Yeah.
think that
And then recently you've had.
I don't know if what the hell was the other big one? Killzone. Killzone was a rated mature game, but that was like their
That was mature. Yeah,
yeah, that was their response, I think, to Halo. I want to say.
Yeah, it was kind of like their equivalent of Halo.
But you had your teen rated stuff there, so you knew that like that was the console you can get into. You know, they've got their friends that are on it and what have you, and it played the games you wanted to play. Like Jack and Daxter was a big one to be able to play on that.
Yeah.
Ratchet and Clank.
That was my brother's favorite game at one point.
So you're getting into more like
Yeah.
complex games. So if Nintendo is like, you know, the children's console where you know that it's going to be something you can play with the kids, the teenage console is going to be for, you know, anybody who just wants to sit down and have a nice enjoyable experience on the couch and, you know, probably get into some Killzone or God of War when you're starting to get into like mature rating.
Mm-hmm.
And then Xbox was kind of the place where you went to when, you know, you wanted to smoke a little crack and you just wanted to
What?
play some weird shit.
Yeah.
Because that's where Halo comes out. That's where Gears of War came out. Like that's their two main flagship games is
Mm-hmm.
Halo and Gears of War.
And that's why I loved. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No,
you, like,
I was just gonna say that when one of your flagships is Gears of War, where you literally take a fucking chainsaw and you saw people in half.
Yeah.
And just the way they're just like, oh yeah, I got a grub, you know, like I think that you're just like, oh fuck, like multiple times throughout the game.
Yeah.
Like when that's your flagship, like you know that that's gonna be like the console for the mature audience.
Mm-hmm.
But anyhow, I didn't mean to keep on going.
No,
Go
no,
ahead.
you're good. Like I just that's why I found myself like back then I found myself like being more of a Sony fan because they just kept coming out with more and more, you know, different like exclusive games, like different what are those called, like ISPs?
That's an internet service provider. But
Or different IPs, yeah.
IPs.
So
Yeah, intellectual properties.
yeah, like they different games, you know, different storylines, and it was exciting, you know. Whereas Xbox, you know, with the Xbox 360 and everything, they really only had the two franchises that were, you know, that everybody was going crazy over. It was Halo and Gears of War. That was their two main exclusives.
Mainly just Halo.
Yeah.
I mean, Gears of War, I think, dwindled out after about Gears 2. I think Gears 3 was a big one, but then it just
Gears
kind of
2 was
fell
my
off.
favorite. Like Gears, the other games are great too, but they just didn't have the same kind of, I guess, flair or excitement that the second game had. Halo was definitely like their champion game until they got fucking bought out by, what was it, 343 Studios.
So they didn't even get bought out. So when Bungie was making them, Bungie became a subsidiary. Oh, no, they never became a subsidiary of Microsoft, or did they? I don't know. Regardless, so Bungie was done making Halo games after
Stupid.
Halo 3. They
Stupid
were like,
idea.
well, no, they were like, we're done. We've told the story that we wanted to tell. We no longer want to make Halo games. You know, we'll leave it open ended because that's where Chief went into the cryo chamber at the very end of the third one. If you haven't played Halo 3, I'm sorry, but where the fuck have you been?
I
But
mean, like fighting Guilty Spark, which is
Yeah.
like not. I mean,
you fought Guilty Spark in the first one.
yeah, but I mean, that's not a good way to end the franchise.
At the end of Halo 3?
Yeah, like
The end of Halo 3 had you do essentially like a similar run like you did on the Maw at the end of the first one. We had to run like you had to take the Warthog and go and jump into the ship and what have you.
I thought that was 2.
No, that was Halo 3. I'm pretty
Was it
certain that
Halo
Halo 3 ended that way. Halo 2 ended with you and the Arbiter being captured by Gravemind. Like underwater. I'm thinking. I'm not entirely certain. But
Okay.
I believe so. I really can't recall them very well. But nonetheless, it's like, so Bungie said, we're done doing Halo games. We don't want to do any more Halo games. And then I think that Bungie did,
Like,
I don't know if they did Reach. I can't remember
yeah,
if they did Reach.
they did.
Did they?
They did Reach and ODST.
Yeah, because
were the
they
only-
also did ODST, which ODST was more of an, I mean, it was a separate game. It fell somewhere between a DLC and a full-fledged game because it still tacked on Halo 3 ODST instead of just being Halo ODST, which, because it just felt like a condensed version. And it came out like right at the height of DLC being like an actual full-fledged thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because now you look at DLC and it's like, oh, you know, you get an extra 2 maps to play online, or you get a couple extra guns, or you get new skins. I can't think of a game that really had like a DLC that really like added that much to the story, which is why it justified the $40 price tag instead of the usual $20 that you'd get from a DLC back then.
Uh-huh.
But it just, I felt like it was a well thought out game because it gave you your own sense of direction because you can go wherever you wanted to in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And did you play through ODST?
I started it, but then I think my brothers finished it. I never really played through the whole
Okay.
thing. I played through Reach.
Reach was okay. I wasn't a massive fan of Reach because I knew that they were all
No?
going to die. Because I was like,
Yeah, but,
Halo
like-
Reach gets glassed. Like,
Reach
we
had
all
the
know
best
that.
multiplayer of Bungie's Halo games.
Sin.
No.
Halo 3 was my number one. Like Halo
Did
2,
you
I was
even
really good at.
play the multiplayer for Reach?
Yeah, I played multiplayer for
Like
Reach. But
all
that's when
the jetpacks, the
that's
power ups,
why
and
I
everything.
started to hate it because
Why?
Because it started. It's the same reason that I started to hate Call of Duty. Because like I enjoyed the boots on the ground, jumping around. Like even though it had like low gravity and it had different little quirks to make it Halo, it almost felt a little bit more like Quake versus Halo at that point. But still, it felt good, and it was a lot of fun to play. But then you get into Halo Reach, and you have the specialists thing where you can be able to sprint, or you can throw down a shield, or you can. I mean, I was fine with Halo 3 having the shield where you can grab it as a thing and then throw it down, but you can never like pick up a jetpack, or you can never pick up something and like completely just alter the way the game is played.
But that was the whole fun of it, that you could change the way the game, when you played, and pull off moves that you couldn't in other games.
And that's the thing is like if I wanted to play something like that, I'd go to a game that I could play like that where I would have a jetpack. But when I came to Halo, I knew what I was getting myself into. Like when I used to go into Call of Duty, I knew what I was getting myself into. When I play like Modern Warfare 2, I think I stopped playing after Black Ops 2. I never played the story for Black Ops 2. I think it was the last one that I actually touched. Because my friends wanted to play zombies, which I was never a big fan of. Because I was like, I know this is going to end and I'm going to die eventually, so why work for it? But I played Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2, and they were a lot of fun online because it was the same idea as Modern Warfare is now, which is I don't think you could sprint back then. I don't know. Maybe.
What, with Call of Duty?
Yeah. I don't know if you had the ability to sprint in
Yeah,
Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah, Halo was the one where you couldn't sprint.
So you used to be able to in Call of Duty still. Okay.
Yeah,
So
there was actually an ability in Reach
I know,
that
that's the
made
thing.
you sprint.
like I wanted that to be like a standard thing across all of them, or make it none of them. I didn't want one person to be able to sprint and then have to watch out for that, and then another dude jetpacking all over the place, and then another guy throwing a bomb on me. Like it got to be too much. And also the finishers. That's when I started to hate the game. Is when they started doing like how in Call of Duty they've got the kill, whatever the hell it is, where you go up and you finish them.
Executions?
The executions, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where I stopped caring. I played Reach. I played it for quite a bit, but I never got the same feeling out of it like I did from Halo 2 and eventually Halo 3. Halo 3 was my like online. I mean, Halo 3 had Forge. Halo 3 had Griffball when they finally came out with that, when Rooster Teeth started to become a big enough thing to actually include their stuff into the game. Now Rooster Teeth is too big for their britches, but that's just my personal opinion. I think that they're irritating as shit.
Yeah.
But regardless, when I started to like play Halo Reach, I didn't like that. For single player, I thought it was cool. Like you can pick up little abilities, do your thing, awesome. But I didn't really care to continue with it because I didn't want to deal with it. I didn't like the fact that people were just jetpacking all over the place, and I'd be walking across a walkway and I'm looking to see if people are up in front of me, and I'm looking off my side to see if people are below me, and then somebody fucking jetpacks beside me and punches me in the back and then executes me and then flies off again like some asshole in the night, you know? And that's why I stopped playing Call of Duty, because once I started getting to the point where you could run and then wall run on something and jump off and then shoot people, and if I wanted to play something like that, I'd play Titanfall, because Titanfall already had that. I don't want to play Call of Duty to go and jump around and jetpack and stuff, which is why Modern Warfare is the first game that brought me back.
That was so I thought that was so cool.
Even in Call of Duty?
What? No, in Reach.
In Reach? But it made more sense in Reach because it is still like futuristic stuff. So at least it made a little bit of sense. Even though, Halo Reach technically was before Halo 3 and none of the Spartans had that kind of stuff in Halo, or before Halo 1. And the Halo Run came out and they're like, oh, we forgot how to make jetpacks. But nonetheless, I don't know. I don't like that kind of stuff. If I wanted to play it like that, I'd play Titanfall. Titanfall is a great game online. Like to play multiplayer?
Well, I mean, the first Titanfall was only online.
Yeah,
the second one.
Then the second one had its story player and then its online aspect.
Yeah, so.
But that was fun. I loved that online.
Yeah, it was fun. It's just it didn't have a story, so that kind of like took away from it a little bit. I mean,
it had like a story of like as in cutscenes between you playing
not
online
even really
matches.
cutscenes.
That's all it really
It just
was.
had like some dialogue between the characters, and that was about it.
There really wasn't anything to it on in this aspect of a story mode.
But like going back to Bungie, like they start when they stopped doing Halo, they freaking went off and did Destiny, and then that became a flop.
It's not a flop at all. People love those games.
Yeah, but
people just will die over Destiny. I don't get it. I'm probably in the same way as you do. I bought Destiny. I pre-ordered it the day that it came out because I just happened to be in GameStop, and they were like, "Oh, Destiny just released, and you get a poster if you pre-order it." I was like, "Yeah, it's Bungie's first game on their own. I mean, first game after Halo on their own." And I was like, "Okay, it'll be a cool game. I'll go ahead and I'll pick it up." I got the collector's edition, like I said before. I just bought the collector's edition for everything, and played it for, I'm gonna say, a total of 3 hours, and then it felt like an MMO, which it kind of is, but it just felt too much like an MMO to the point that I was just kind of like in this hub world, like dancing with other people, and I'm like, I don't fucking care about this. I don't want to do this anymore.
It just like it didn't deliver on like a lot of like what people were expecting from it. It was, like for example, you can pick your own ship, but they're basically loading screens, and I don't know. It's just, what it boils down to is just grinding, nonstop grinding. And the second game is the exact same way. It has like a little bit more story and a little bit more, customization options, but it's essentially the same as the first Destiny. And Bungie gave like a 10-year plan explaining like their plans, like, oh, this is gonna be, we have so many plans for this game, DLC, expansions, all that. It's going to be enormous. Their budget for that game was like $500 million.
Really?
It's like one of the it has like the most expensive budget of like any game today. I think other
probably Grand Theft Auto and like Red
probably
Dead.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Because Rockstar pulls those things out of their ass and fucking hits home runs with them.
Yeah,
it's probably only released one every like 4 years.
Yeah, didn't Grand Theft Auto 5 have like one of the biggest releases of any game in history or something like that?
I think that when Grand Theft Auto 5, and I'm certain that I'm right on this, but I don't know if it's still a thing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But at the time when Grand Theft Auto 5 came out, it was the largest release of any entertainment media in history.
Yeah, didn't it like make over $1 billion in its first like?
I think in its first day it cracked like some enormous amount of money.
Yeah, it was insane. Like
It's still selling today. I mean, it's still sold across what, like 6 different types of platforms: PC, 360, One. I don't think it's made it onto Series X or PS5. I don't think it's going to go on to either of the new consoles.
Mm-hmm.
But it's on PC and the 2 consoles, and then 360 and PS3. Yeah. So it's still across 5 platforms.
That's crazy. Like it's insane. Like Rockstar just can't do any wrong, man.
I bought it 3 times. I understand.
Yeah, like damn.
I bought it on the 360, then I bought it again on the Xbox One when I got one of those, then I bought it on the PC when I got a PC.
Yeah, like I bought it on the Xbox 360 and that was it.
Yeah.
Like,
It's what's insane to me, and I love thinking about this, is that if you look at the beginning of the Xbox 360's life cycle, right? And look at one of the games that are one of the launch titles for the 360, like Perfect Dark Zero or Cameo, if you remember what that is.
I don't actually.
Like think of like the earliest game you could think of for the 360 that came out, like Project Gotham Racing 3, some shit like that.
The first game that I ever played on the 360 was BioShock.
Perfect.
You remember that?
BioShock is a good example. I love BioShock.
That
Those are
is
some
a
great
fucking
games.
masterpiece of a game.
I love those. I wasn't super impressed by Infinite, but
No, me
BioShock
either.
1 was incredible.
I mean, have you ever played Infinite to the very end?
Yeah, I've finished the entire game.
It's the most confusing ending I've ever seen.
There's like
in a
6
game.
different endings, so you could have just been confused by one of the 6
I
very
was confused
confusing
by all
endings.
of them. I played through that game like 100 times and I couldn't figure it out. Like,
I
and
wanna
then
play
part
Burial
2
at
was
Sea.
great too, but yeah, I never got the DLC for the games.
Jessica's gonna buy it for me for I think Valentine's Day this year or something like that, but she accidentally bought the wrong thing, so I returned it and I ended up buying, I think, a different game altogether because I was just like, I'm kind of done here.
You know, I think my brother actually got the BioShock collection for
Oh yeah, for the
Christmas.
360.
Yeah, and I'm pretty
Or the
sure it
one,
comes
either
with
one.
all the DLC already included.
Does it?
So,
So I
I'm
have
pretty sure.
that. I
So,
should probably look.
Yeah, it's a great bundle. I think it's selling now for like $30-$40, something like that, and it's just a great deal.
Because I literally have the BioShock, the bundle for the Xbox One.
But
anyhow.
which bundle does it come with all 3 games? Or?
I think so. It might just be the first 2. I have no idea. But regardless, if you think of like one of the first games you ever saw for the Xbox 360, like just how trash it looked compared to now, right?
Yeah.
Think about the fact that the console that ran that is the same console that was able to comfortably run Grand Theft Auto 5 multiplayer and the regular like GTA 5 single player story. It's like the fact that you could still have an Xbox from 7 years ago that you started off playing, full auto racing or something like that, and then now you're playing Grand Theft Auto 5 with the amount of like detail that's in that game. It's just insanity. The fact that you could be able to go from one to the other.
Yeah, those consoles were very impressive and like ahead of their time. Like that's why it was like it wasn't this like the PS3 and the Xbox 360. That was the longest running console
Generation, I think so.
Yeah. Because like even now those consoles are still going strong.
Yeah, because I think Xbox One came out in 2003, so those went for
Not Xbox One.
Or not 2003. I'm sorry, Xbox One came out in 2013, so they went for 7 years, and I think that the 360 came out in 2005, so they must have been
Something like that. Yeah, like 2006, something like that.
So it was 8 years in between the 360 and then the One. And then 7 years between the One and the Series 1 or Series X. Or
Yeah, and then those consoles were running right alongside the PS4 and the Xbox One. And if I'm not mistaken, like because the PS4 and the Xbox One I think started off kind of slow in sales. So when they first started up, I mean PS4 was doing better for a long time, and
the PS3 was super expensive. That's one of the reasons.
Yeah,
why.
that's why.
It was like $800 for the console when it first came out.
600.
Was it 600?
Yeah,
I thought there was a
remember
version that was
'cause
$800. I think
There may have been.
the primary version, the 20 gig version that came out with like the little clamshell thing that opened up, it was piano black and it had all the like SD card things in it. I think that one went for like $800 or something like that. It was something ridiculous.
No, I remember the price vividly. It's because my dad actually gave me the money to buy it for Christmas.
Oh wow! Look at you.
Around that time, yeah. So
somebody loves you.
yeah, like But that's why when I got my Xbox back then, like everybody was so into Xbox way more than PS3, because Xbox was like with Xbox Live and everything, it pretty much set the standard for multiplayer and everything with achievements and all that stuff.
I love achievements.
Yeah.
I used to just cram.
I never understood the obsession with achievements. It's like it doesn't even do anything. It would be one thing if like the achievements you got, you could use them to get rewards in the Xbox store.
That's what everyone was kind of hoping for. I literally like when I got my first couple achievements, I'm like, how do I spend these online?
Yeah, it's like they're for nothing. Literally, like PS3 had like, or the PlayStation has like the trophy system.
Yeah.
And it's the same exact thing.
It's a slightly more complicated system, but it is the same thing because they've got like different.
It's just because you don't get a score.
Yeah,
it's all about like trophies, like silver, gold, bronze. Like you can platinum a game, but apparently people didn't find that as amazing as the achievement system.
Because you could have a score on the 360 where you can be like, I may not have completed my game super well, but you can just see my score. Like my score is still higher than most of the people that I know, which I'm sure is just pennies in comparison to a lot of people. But my score, I think, when I stopped playing my Xbox was 105,000.
Damn.
I wanted to crack the 100,000 barrier, and that's when I was just kind of like, I don't fucking care about a gamer score anymore.
And there was like people back then that were just so fucking into gamer score. Like everybody would talk shit like, oh, I got more gamer score than you, and like, and I just remember thinking like, so the fuck what? And it's like it doesn't even mean anything. It's like
my friend Peter over in the UK and I, we would actually we'd have each other's Xbox Live accounts, and we would trade email and passwords for it. So that way I could download his and he could download mine, so he could play games that he had and I could play games that I had with the accounts. And then I just wouldn't mind, like, I'd just go back through BioShock again and he'd play, like, MLB The Show or some shit like that. Like, something that I will never play, just to increase each other's gamer score. And we just talk to each other throughout that. It was always weird getting a private chat invite from myself, but, yeah.
Every game had, a maximum score that you could receive of, like, a 1,000, right?
It started off with 1,000, and some games were easier than others. Like, I remember I played Blazing Angels, and I didn't get very many gamer score from that because it was like, I don't know if I was just, not a bright kid or it was actually difficult.
Like, I tried 1,000 Batman.
Oh, Arkham Asylum?
Yeah.
That was not too bad. You just gotta find like the Riddler stuff and do the couple secret achievements.
It was okay. It wasn't too hard. Like I eventually did it, but one game I couldn't do it, no matter how hard I tried, was Prototype.
Prototype? I have a Prototype. I played that entire game through while I was listening to the new Gorillaz album. The entire time. Mm-hmm. Was that Prototype? The one that you had the little thing on your arm, you swing around on shit? That's a different game, wasn't it?
No, that's Dark Sector.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, that's
not Dark Sector. I can't remember what the name of that game was. Prototype was the one where you became like a monster and just started destroying shit, right?
Yeah, there's a virus destroying Manhattan and everything.
Yeah, I played Prototype at the same time I played that other one.
I know what game you're referring to. Like where guy has a grappling hook and he uses it to go everywhere. I can't remember. They made 3 of those games.
They had 3 of those?
Yeah.
I'm not talking about Bulletstorm.
No, not Bulletstorm.
Okay, because Bulletstorm was around that same time frame.
Bulletstorm was stupid as shit.
But if you turn off the audio for the game and you just listen to music instead, it's a very good game.
Yeah.
If you just don't care about the story at all.
Your main character cursed for the sake of cursing.
Yeah, I never knew. Bionic Commando. That's what the game was called.
Oh, that's not the game I was thinking of.
Yeah, it's Bionic Commando.
I was thinking of something else.
That's my nostalgia for it anyway. But nonetheless, we're going to start wrapping this podcast up, bud.
Okay.
Well, I think we hit the time.
Did we?
I think we hit the time. Let me take a look.
I don't have my punching pillow.
25 minutes in. Trying to keep these around about 30 minutes, give or take, ish, to make them a little bit more reasonable. So that way, if you look into your podcast feed and you go, "Oh my God, these two are going to talk for the next hour and 45 minutes," like our first episode, you go, "Oh fuck that."
No, we're not doing that. We're not going to assault your ears.
However, if you listen to about 4 of these in a row, you can probably hit there. But that's your choice. We're not going to make you do that. But nonetheless, thank you very much for tuning in. We really appreciate it.
We really do.
We appreciate it tremendously. But regardless, you can find us on the platform you just found us on. But we also have our customized videos on YouTube, and we'll be uploading some different kind of stuff on there that is in addition to the podcast. You can always find the podcast on most any
Any platforms
any
where
popular,
you get your podcasts.
Any popular platform for a streaming podcast. Stitcher, Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music. We just got approved for. We're waiting for iHeartRadio and Pandora. We just gotta wait for the responses for them.
So we're waiting for those. But yeah, most anywhere that you get your podcasts, you can find us on there. We really want to thank you guys, and we appreciate you for tuning in, listening to us rant.
Absolutely. And almost forgot, we set up a Facebook group as well, so you can go onto the page and see what kind of stuff we're up to, get updates when the next video will be out, and any other stuff that we're currently working on. Like, I'm working on propaganda posters right now as kind of like fun little things for the podcast. So if you have anything cool that you'd like to mention, or like a poster from the 1930s or 40s that you think would be nice, or like an advertisement you think would kind of like fit the idea well, go on there and send it to me, and I'll see if I can just go ahead and recreate it into a propaganda poster.
Exactly. So tune in for any updates. If you guys are listening to us on YouTube, make sure to like, subscribe for any updates.
Like it, subscribe it, favorite it, send it to a friend, send it to your grandmother.
Your
comment down below if your grandmother
cousin.
liked it or not. If you find your long lost cousin, send it to them. But yeah, I think it's gonna wrap it up. Thank you guys for listening. We'll see you next time.
Thank you guys so much. Again, this has been AJ.
I'm Jeremy.
And this has been Intelligence Not Included. You guys have a great night.
Talking like it's a fucking
Like it's
late
a
night radio
nighttime
show.
Yeah.
And thank you guys, and we hope to see you in the morning. Stay salty.